All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to College Football Corner. I am your host, Cooper Stevens. It's just going to be me tonight, but we have a very exciting program for you tonight. It is a special March Madness edition of College Football Corner. Only one time a year will you see College Football Corner defect from college football. Um, Maybe that's a lie, but I really enjoy March Madness. It's probably a top five sporting event of the year for me, and it's college. Everybody fills out a bracket, and so tonight I'm going to be filling out my official March Madness bracket for you tonight. I wanted to have a place where I could put it, um, and I want to start posting on here again. I know it's been about 2 months since I've posted on here, but yeah, I've been busy with life stuff. So without further ado, I want to start out with my bracket tips for everybody. Um, so before we start, make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more live shows, if you want to see more of me, um, or if you want to see less of me, drop a dislike, but don't do that. So we are going to start out with Cooper's March Madness tips and tricks. I didn't put tricks, but these are my top five tips I would say that you need to have in your March Madness bracket, or at least go by if you want to be successful. First off, the first four. It's happening right now. I'm not watching it. It's Prairie View and Lehigh, I believe. And those games don't matter, but the 11 seed matchups do matter. Miami versus SMU. We'll be watching that tonight. Um, Big matchups we saw last night. NC State and Texas went down to the wire. Beautiful shot by Mac there to end it. And these teams almost always make it to the second round. One of the 4 11 seeds always makes it to the second round. And if you've seen in years past, teams like UCLA, we had Rutgers a couple years ago, I believe. I mean, there's been a lot of teams from the first four that have ended up making a deep run. FDU, believe it, a couple years ago, Fairleigh Dickinson was in the first four. They made it to the second round. There's a good success rate with first four teams who win a game and make it to the second round. So always make sure to just have one in there, one of the 11 seeds winning that game and moving on to the second round. Now, going past that, don't really pick them after the second round. I wouldn't suggest it, but it's always good to have a team in there. From the first four winning a game and going to the round of 32. I believe the rate on that is about 50% of the time those teams make it to the second round. So it's a good bet to pick a first four team to make the second round. Next up, does anybody know how to have fun when they're picking brackets? I feel like with me when I'm watching people pick their brackets, everybody's scared to pick a 4 over or 13 over a 4 or 14 over a 3. And it's March. That's the definition of March, is this stuff happening. Always pick a 13 plus seed to win a first round game in your bracket. I don't care if it doesn't always make logical sense, but picking these 13 seeds or these 14 seeds to make an upset is, first off, it's fun. It shows you have whimsy. And also, they most likely always happen. Last year is a very much an outlier where all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four. The biggest upset was a 5 over a 12, and there wasn't a whole lot of madness. That's an outlier, in my opinion. A lot of people argue with the transfer portal that the talent is top heavy in college basketball. I don't know that, and you don't know that. This year, I believe, is going to be a upset heavy tournament, and I believe that if you pick a 13 seed to win a first round game, it depends on which one you pick, and you have to be strategic about it, but you could end up making that upset pick. So more than likely, these upsets happen. I believe there was a stat that, like, from the last 5 years, there's been a 15 seed that's upset at a 2 seed almost every single year up until last year, obviously. But these upsets happen, and so it's not ridiculous to pick them. And picking a March Madness bracket is supposed to be fun. So pick yourself an upset. Maybe even have 2 upsets. Maybe not that much. But speaking of upsets, pick at least 1 or 2 12 seed over 5 seed games. This actually has data to back it up, stating that it happens. Over 50% of the time, 12 seeds do beat 5 seeds. It's just usually one happens every single year, possibly two, depending on what I believe two happened last year with Colorado State and McNeese. So identify the 12 versus 5 games and pick which one you think is going to be the most likely to happen. And then sometimes the strategy with that is pick the one that's the least likely to happen because that's probably the one that's going to happen. Just kind of how that stuff works with March. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good viable games that we'll go over that I'll talk about when we get to picking my bracket. But yeah, just pick at least one or two 12 over 5 seed games. That's usually always a lot. Now, going to the final four, this is skipping a little bit, but here's what your final four should usually consist of. It should at least consist of two one seeds because those are statistically the most likely teams to make the final four. And then it should always have at least one 5 seed. Now, Cooper, last year, it was all 4 one seeds. Well, let me tell you this. Every other year since about 2010, a 5 seed or higher has made the final four. Now, that doesn't mean that a 5 seed is going to make it every year or a 6 seed is going to make it every year. It's a lot of guessing, and you're probably not going to get it right. But having one 5 seed in there at least secures that you have a realistic looking final four. A final four with all 4 one seeds or 3 one seeds and 1 2 seed isn't going to happen every single year. So you have to account for, Cinderella runs and teams getting hot and teams getting cold and at least put one 5 seed in there. I believe in 2023 it was a 4 seed, 2 5 seeds and a 9 seed. Like nobody's going to predict that, but at least put one 5 seed in there just so that you at least have a chance at having a realistic Final Four. And then finally, don't be afraid to drop some 1 and 2 seeds early in your bracket. I see this a lot where, people might want to pick an upset early, but they don't want to pick an upset in the second round or the Sweet 16. This is what's going to happen in March. We see it even last year. 2 seeds and 1 seeds do lose in the second, third, rounds. In the Sweet 16, they lose. You just have to anticipate it and you have to look at the matchup and identify which one you want to go with. And so it's smart to do that, but it's also risky. So a lot of people don't do it. But I suggest you at least identify which 1 seeds and 2 seeds you like and which ones you don't, and drop the ones that you don't, because I think that's going to give you the most realistic shot at a good bracket. So with that, those are all of my tips and tricks on your bracket. And now we're going to get to the real show here. I'm using the ESPN Tournament Challenge. Here we go. Here it is. Don't know if you can see it. Let me see. Let me see which one. Don't want to do that. Let me see which one works the best. I'm sorry. Does this work? Is this working for some people? Ooh, we'll do this. Or well, no, we won't do that. We'll do this. How about that? That'll work. I was messing around with it. I should have done that before, but anyway, this is the bracket. Everybody's seen it if you're watching this. But let's go ahead and start out to fill this one out. I'm gonna go region by region here instead of just going through the round of 64 and then going to the round of 32, and then going there. I think I'm gonna do region by region first. So let's start out. Duke, obviously, gonna beat Siena. That's pretty obvious, knock on wood. But what I want to talk about with Duke is their 2 big injuries, and I feel like that's going to affect them a little bit. I'm not sure, though, how much, because we did see them playing Clemson and playing Virginia. They looked really solid, maybe a little less solid against Florida State, but they did look pretty solid. So I'm questioning what it's going to be like without Caleb Foster. I'm intrigued to see when they'll get Ngbongba back, but because I'm pretty sure they'll get him back the first game is what I'm assuming. But I mean, they honestly didn't look that different against Clemson. Virginia, they looked a little bit more shaky. So I'm intrigued to see what happens there because I believe Caleb Foster is going to be out for the year, but we'll see with that. But I will pick Duke to win against Siena and Ohio State and TCU. This is the first game of the tournament, 12:15 in about 16 hours. It'll tip. I think I'm going to go Ohio State here. I really like Ohio State. I think they are a really good team. I love Chris Mobley and Bruce Thornton as a front court duo. I love what they've been doing recently. They've been getting hot. They pushed Michigan to the wire. Um, they've beaten a lot of good teams, and I think it's just going to be too much for TCU to handle. And I have them moving on to the round of 32. Now, St. John's in northern Iowa. This is an interesting one. A lot of people say this is the least likely 5 versus 12. St. John's has been looking really good. They just won the Big East. There's no way that they don't win this game, and they won't, or they will. They will beat Northern Iowa here. I'm going to take them, but I'm a little shaky about this game just because of how the media has been propping them up over this last week of they're not going to lose this game. This is an easy one. Northern Iowa made a great run in the MVC tournament and Arch Madness, as they call it. But I just like the way St. John's plays. I like Zuby Edgerford. I like Ian Jackson. Uh, and so I think I'll take St. John's here, but I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. So take that with a grain of salt. Next up, Kansas and Cal Baptist, and this is my first upset of the tournament. I have Cal Baptist beating Kansas, and here's a couple reasons. First off, 2 words, Dominique Daniels. Have you ever heard of him? He's one of the leading scorers in the NCAA. Dominique Daniels Jr. He is a very good player. I like the way he plays. I think he's going to lead a lot of the offense for Cal Baptist. He averages 23.2 points per game, 43% field goal percentage, and I just like I like the way he plays. He's going to have to step up, and I think he will in this game. But also, I don't like this Kansas team right now. I think they are very inconsistent is the word I would say. I think that they don't have really a main guy to go to. I know Darren Peterson is their main guy, but I just don't. I don't know if I can rely on him. He's very inconsistent, and almost it's like Kansas is better when Darren Peterson is not playing. I know they've had some big wins, but I think Cal Baptist is just going to get an upset here. Nobody's picking this. Everybody's just saying Kansas is going to win, and you gotta be funny with this stuff. So I'm going to go Cal Baptist. Um, for the fun of it, but also because I believe in Dominique Daniels and I believe in this Cal Baptist team to pull off the upset. Now, Louisville, South Florida, this next game right here. I think Louisville is going to pull it off there without Michael Brown Jr. And South Florida has played really good throughout the American. Um, but Louisville, throughout the year, has played pretty good against teams that are less than them and have not played good against teams that are better than them. That's kind of been their area of expertise this year. And so I'm going to take Louisville to win here. It might be close, but I like what they did in the ACC tournament with the 2 games that they played. I like the way they played. They put Miami to against the ropes, and so I'm going to take Louisville to win here. And I've got Michigan State moving on as well against North Dakota State. Shout out Bison. UCLA, UCF, a big game here. A lot of people are taking UCLA. I'm going to take UCLA as well. I like Donovan Dent, and this is what they've been doing. They've made a semifinal run in the Big Ten tournament. I think it's going to be too much for UCF to handle. UCF, one of the last teams in. I'm going to take UCLA here to get a comfortable win. And then finally, UConn, I think, is going to beat Furman. But this could be close. I don't like what UConn's been doing over the last couple of weeks. They did not look good in the Big East final. So you never know. It could be a win. Honestly, you could flip the two seedings here between St. John's and UConn. I wouldn't be mad at it. But I've got UConn advancing. We now go to the round of 32 here in the East region, and it's Duke and Ohio State. Some people picking Ohio State here. I'm going to pick Duke to move on. Like I said before, I like the way they looked even without Caleb Foster and Patrick Ngongba, but it could be where Ohio State pulls off the upset, and I think that is very possible, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Uh, so look out, Duke, because I think Duke is always very just. I don't know with them. I don't know when it comes to March Madness with them. I know they made the Final Four run last year, and they've made a couple of Final Four run years in the last couple of years, but I don't know. We'll see with Duke, but for right now, I'm going to go with them. St. John's, I have moving on against Cal Baptist. I think St. John's is a way more consistent team than Kansas is. And I think they match up a lot better against Cal Baptist than Kansas does. So I'm going to go St. John's to move on to the Sweet 16. Next up, Louisville, Michigan State. This is an interesting one because, like I said, Louisville hasn't played great against other competition. Will they get Michael Brown Jr. back for this game? I'm not sure, but I'm going to go Louisville. I like this Louisville team. I like what they've been doing. They have a lot of guys that I think can score. And I think that right now I don't know. I just like this team more than I do Michigan State, I feel like. And I don't know. It's a tough. I'm thinking about it now. I don't know. I like Ryan Conwell. I like this team. Give me Louisville to move on. Uh, and then I've got UCLA moving on as well. I think, like I said, I don't like this UConn team right now. They played very bad in the final. It's unfortunate. I know I shouldn't bet against Dan Hurley, but he lost in the second round last year. I think he's going to lose in the second round this year again against UCLA and Donovan Dent. Give me UCLA. And next up, I like this Duke team. I'm going to keep going with them. I think it would be foolish to bet against them and take them out in the Sweet 16. So I'm going to go Duke. I think this is going to be a really good matchup and a good Sweet 16 matchup, but I think that that Duke's going to prevail in this one and move on to the Elite Eight. Now setting up for a really interesting Sweet 16 matchup, a 6 versus 7 seed. We are going to go with UCLA here. I'm still wondering about Michael Brown Jr. with this team. If they had Michael Brown, I might pick Louisville, but I think overall UCLA is the more solid team right now. They're playing really good. Sky Clark's playing really good. Like I said, Donovan Dent's playing really good. And I think UCLA's caught fire, and they're going to keep catching fire, and they're going to make it to the Elite Eight. And now this Elite Eight matchup, it's a 1 versus 7. I'm going to go Duke. UCLA is not going to be my 5+ seed. We're going to have our first 1 seed into the Final Four with Duke. I think I like the way Duke plays, and I think they're going to get Ngongba back. They might get Caleb Foster back, and I think they'll pick up steam once they start getting wins. So yeah, I can just tell you though, I'm not as high on this Florida team. But we'll get there when we get there. They'll probably beat Lehigh, Prairie View. I'm not sure who's in the lead right now in that game, but whoever wins that one's just going to lose to Florida, so it's all right. Clemson and Iowa. I've got a little bit of bias here. If you don't know, I'm a Clemson fan. I try to keep my bias out of things, but I know that they are underdogs in this game. I know a lot of people are picking Iowa, but give us a shot. I know we people say we've been dealing with injuries. We had one injury to Carter Welling. And we've got Jake Willeen, we've got Nick Davidson, we've got RJ Godfrey, we've got Dylan Hunter, we've got a lot of guys that I feel like can make up. Butta Johnson, we've got Chase Thompson. I think this is a solid team, and I know we didn't do as good as I would have wanted in the ACC tournament. I would have loved to play Duke more competitive, but I think we can beat Iowa here. I know they got Bennett Sturts, but I think that Iowa is going to choke, and I think that Clemson's going to get the job done and move on to the round of 32. Professional analyticism there from your boy. Vanderbilt versus McNeese. This is a very interesting one. I don't like McNeese because of what they did to Clemson last year, but I will say that Vanderbilt's going to crush it. There's no way that McNeese can do it 2 years in a row. They didn't do it the first year, and they're not going to do it this third year. I think Vanderbilt's really hot right now. I think you got guys like what's his name, Tanner. Hold on, I got to look him up. I feel bad now. Tyler Tanner. I really like Tyler Tanner, and I'm sorry that I forgot his name. Tyler Tanner's really good. Um, and then like who is Duke Miles? Yes, Duke Miles and Tyler Tanner. I forgot their names. I feel so bad, but Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles are a really good duo. I like this Vanderbilt team. If you saw what they did in the uh, in the SEC tournament, they almost won it, which is crazy. They dog smacked Florida, and I just think McNeese isn't going to have a shot. And this is another one I'm looking at here, and I'm looking at Nebraska and Troy, and I'm going to go Nebraska, but I'm not sold on it. A lot of these 4-13 matchups are tempting, but I'm going to go with Nebraska. I think that their 3-point shooting is going to get them over the hump, uh, but I cannot say the same for North Carolina. Uh, I don't know about North Carolina. This is a very shaky game looking at this one because VCU's played really good in the A10. And North Carolina without Caleb Wilson is very inconsistent. I'm going to go VCU here just because I feel like it's going to be an off shooting night. If North Carolina can shoot the ball, they play really well. But I don't know if Vasar can put them on their back. Um, so I'm going to go VCU here in an 11 seed upset here. So next up, we've got Illinois and Penn. I'm going to go Illinois here. High on Illinois. They should be going far in my tournament. Next up, St. Mary's and Texas A&M. These are two very interesting teams. I don't know a lot about them. So we're going to do the classic. How did that happen? We are going to do the classic logo battle. Um, I don't do this often, but in a game where I could not care less who wins and they're just going to lose in the second round, um, I'm going to do the logo battle here. So we're going to analyze Texas A&M and St. Mary's logo here. Looking at it, they're both letter logos, which I do not like. I do not like the letter logos. Get a creative logo and don't just make it your school letters. Um, but St. Mary's, they've got a little bit going on here. A&M, I feel like a lot of I don't know ATM. That's more iconic than I feel like St. Mary's, but I don't know. I like this little emblem that they have right here, how they circle it around. I don't know. I feel like St. Mary's is doing more. I'm going to pick St. Mary's because of that little emblem at the bottom. I feel like they're doing more with the letters that they were given. And so I'm going to go with St. Mary's here. That's my pick. And then I'm going to go Houston. Another letter logo, but it doesn't matter because they're a good basketball team. Next up, Florida and Clemson. I am biased, like I said. I'm going to go Clemson here. I feel like this is obvious. I'm sorry. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. But I have to go Clemson. I like who we got. I think Florida's the weakest of the one seeds. We just saw what they did against Vanderbilt. They've been inconsistent all year, and I feel like why not us? Why not Clemson to make the Sweet 16? We made the Elite Eight 2 years ago. Why not us this year? And I'm going to do this. So let me have my fun. I've got Vanderbilt over Nebraska. Like I said, I like Tyler Tanner. I like Duke Miles, and I like Vanderbilt's offense. And I think Nebraska, They're a good 3-point shooting team, but they've been kind of exposed after their undefeated start of the year. So I'm going to go Vanderbilt to make it to the Sweet 16 as well. VCU, Illinois, give me Illinois. I like Illinois a lot. Um, a lot of good guys on their squad. And the same goes for Houston. I like Houston as well to beat St. Mary's. So that will bring us to the Sweet 16 in the South region. This game, Clemson and Vanderbilt. This one's tough. I want to pick Clemson, but I'm not going to. I like Vanderbilt a little bit more. I'm gonna go Vanderbilt. I hate it. I hate it for um our guys. I hate that I have to pick against them, but it has to be done. It has to be done. I'm sorry, guys. It's unfortunate. Next up, Illinois, Houston. And I'm gonna go Houston. I'm really high on Houston. I like these guys a lot. Kingston Flemings is arguably one of the best players in the country, and that's why I'm gonna pick Houston as well to go to the Final Four. Um, After everything good I've said about Vanderbilt, I know it's going to be tough for a lot of people, but but I don't think they're as good as Houston. I think Houston's a better defensive team, um, and I also think they can kill you with their offense. Um, they are a really impressive team, and so with that, I'm going to go Houston, and that's that on the South region. So now we're going to go up to the West region and start off with Arizona versus LIU. A lot of people like Long Island in this game. I'm not one of them. How many people have picked Long Island? Only 355,000. But Arizona, obviously, the pick here, but I don't trust them as much as a lot of other people would like to think. Utah State, I've got them beating Villanova. I think they're underseeded. They're the only team from the Mountain West to make it, and I think they're underseeded. I think they should have got maybe a 7 or a 6 seed, um, but they'll go ahead and they'll whoop up on Villanova and make it to the round of 32. Next up, we've got Wisconsin and High Point. This is a very this is a tough one. This is really a tough one. I like Wisconsin. I like what they've been doing, but I like High Point a little bit better. I think the way that High Point's paced, they have a lot of good 3-point shooters, and I think it's just that classic 5-12 upset, like I've said. And I'm sticking to my rules. I'm sticking to my guidelines, and I'm gonna pick a 12 seed to beat a 5 seed, um, and that's that. So we're now gonna pick Arkansas to beat Hawaii, and a lot of people are high on it, Arkansas, and I like Darius A. Cup, and I like Malik Thomas as much as anybody, and I like Trevin Brazil. But we got to remember, this is a John Calipari coach team in March Madness, and I know he made the Sweet 16 run last year. Just giving you that information as I go with my next couple picks, but it's a John Calipari coach team. BYU and Texas. This is where the first four rule comes into play. BYU's been very inconsistent, and they don't ever since they lost Richie Saunders, it's kind of been um, a mess. They had a decent run in the Big 12 tournament, but I'm going to go with Texas. I think a lot of people are blinded by AJ DeMonta, and I'm going to go Texas to move on here. Gonzaga beats Kennesaw State. They'll roll there. Gonzaga has not lost in the first round of an NCAA tournament game since 2008, so that streak will continue. I like Miami. I like CJ Donaldson and what Miami has to offer, just a little bit more than Mark Mitchell in Missouri. And then I got Purdue beating Queens. Shout out Queens University right next to UNC Charlotte. Arizona, Utah State. This is my round of 32 one seed upset. I like Utah State a lot. I think they are a good ball club, and I know that Arizona is arguably the favorite to win this tournament. But Arizona has disappointed so many times before in the last couple of years under Tommy Lloyd. A Princeton loss, um, a Sweet 16 exit. Uh, I mean, just anything you can really think of with this team. I don't like this Arizona team in March Madness, and I'm gonna go Utah State. You might call me crazy, but I'm gonna go Utah State. So, next up, High Point, Arkansas. Give me Arkansas to move on against High Point. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, I mean, Darius Sakoff. That's all I got to say there. Texas, Gonzaga. Give me Gonzaga to move on. Gonzaga is always consistent. They never win national championships, but they are consistent heading into the Sweet 16. So always remember that when picking your bracket. And then give me Purdue. I like Purdue a lot here. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I like Fletcher Lawyer. I like a lot of these guys. Uh, I like Braden Smith. Or wait, Fletcher Lawyer is not even on Purdue anymore, right? Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith. Yeah, I like them all. Boom. Next up, Utah State, Arkansas. Gonna go Arkansas here. And this pretty much pigeonholes me into putting a 5 seed in the West, but that's okay. We have a plan. Um, so yeah, Gonzaga, Purdue. I will pick Purdue here. I like Purdue. Um, and yeah, that's really all I have to. I mean, that's really all I have to say about that. And then I like what Purdue's been doing. I'm gonna pick them to make the Final Four. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Um, Midwest. This is an interesting region of the bracket. Next, we're going to go Michigan to start out here, and then we're going to go St. Louis. I like Robbie Avila. So that's a quick little two-thing game. And then this little quadrant of games right here, I'm very nervous about. I'm going to go Akron, and I'm going to go Hofstra. I like these two teams. I like what Akron has been doing in the MAC. They won it for a reason. Miami of Ohio was not robbed, and then Hofstra has one of the best front court duos in the country. Um, and with the arrest of Aiden Holloway and with how fast Alabama plays, I think it's going to be a barn burner, and I think Hofstra's going to beat them. So give me Akron, give me Hofstra, and then give me Tennessee to beat whoever comes out of the first four game tonight. Um, and then I like Virginia to beat Wright State here. Kentucky and Santa Clara. I'm going to go Santa Clara. I like what they've been doing all year. They have not played great against good teams, but Kentucky's not really that good of a team. So I'm going to take them. And then Iowa State and Tennessee State. If there was a 2-15 upset to watch, this would be it. I think Tennessee State has a chance, but I'm going to go Iowa State to beat Santa Clara. Now, up until this point, I have not had a good track record here with getting a 5 seed in. I'm picking Michigan to beat St. Louis and make it to the Sweet 16, and I'm gonna pick Hofstra. I'm gonna pick Hofstra to beat Akron. I like their front court duo, and I think they're gonna beat Akron. Now, Tennessee, Virginia. This is where it gets interesting. I'm gonna go Tennessee here. Santa Clara. I know that's crazy. I'm not high on Iowa State. Not high on Iowa State. I feel like a 10 seed should make. I feel like we don't have enough double digit seeds making it to the Sweet 16. So I'm going to pick Santa Clara, and then I'm going to pick Tennessee, and I'm going to pick Michigan. Now I'm going to have to break one of my rules here because I did say that you should have two 1 seeds and a 5+ seed in the Final Four. And I'm going to break that by not having a 5 seed in there. I hate that that is what is happening, but I think it's the more realistic Final Four this year. Um, and I hate that I've broken my rule. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's what's happened. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm only a man, and that it is what it is. So we move on now to the final four of this bracket. Duke, Houston, Purdue, and Michigan. A rematch of the Final Four from last year. Give me Duke to move on to the finals. I think it's bound. Um, like I said before, if they have Ngongba, I don't know how to say it, but if they have him, I think they'll be a lock for the Final Four and possibly a national championship. If they don't, I think they can still make it. Um, and I think they're just a little bit better in every aspect of the game than Houston, but just slightly. Purdue and Michigan, I'm going to go Michigan. Um, I, I like Yaxel Lindenborg. I like um, what Michigan's been doing this year, and I think it sets up for a rematch that Duke will win. I think they're your national champion this year. And how many points do I think are being scored in the title game? Give me 152. That is how many I think are going to be scored. That is my bracket. Duke wins it, and that's it. That's my whole bracket. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Final thoughts. I'm excited for March Madness. It's one of the best times of the year. I hope you enjoy it too. Don't do anything tomorrow, but watch March Madness and maybe do a little bit of schoolwork or a little bit of work, whatever you do. Um, but mainly watch March Madness because it's only here. These are the two best days of March Madness we get, the first and the second round. So that really just have fun. And it annoys me when people take it too seriously. Have fun, watch it. None of it really matters, but it does matter because it's March Madness. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm meaning to get back into this more. College football content coming soon next week. Expect some compilations. Um, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment on this video, comment on other videos, watch our other videos, and comment on this video if you like my haircut because I got a new one, if you can't tell. But thank you for watching. Make sure to follow our Instagram, TikTok. You'll get updates on when we'll be doing other live shows. We'll be doing some previews of the college football season coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna try to get more into this. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and see you later. Peace out.